Today on Forbes, Trump shifts nearly $5 million of campaign money into his private business. Donald Trump, who's worth an estimated $6.4 billion, has not donated a penny to his 2024 presidential campaign, opting to raise funds from supporters around the country instead. Meanwhile, his businesses have continued to charge his political operation for food, transportation, and facilities. As a result, Trump has moved $4.6 million of campaign money into his business empire. This, all according to a review of Federal Election Commission records. The bulk of that cash, some $4.2 million, has flowed to one of Trump's aviation companies, TAG Air. The Secret Service, which has to travel with Trump, has paid more than $800,000 for airfare to his campaign, perhaps contributing some of that $4.2 million. The former president owns a 1991 Boeing 757, which required a $4 million engine overhaul around the time he left the White House. After speaking with 6 aviation experts, Forbes estimates the plane is probably worth about $12 million. Trump's businesses have long charged his campaign for various services, though never under quite the same circumstances. During the 2016 race, Trump invested $66 million of his own money into his campaign, far more than the roughly $13 million his campaign paid his business, leaving him with a net loss. In 2020, the former president gave nothing to his campaign while continuing to collect money, thereby moving about $3 million of donor funds into his business. This year, during his 2024 election campaign, he's set to collect far more, as he flies around the country on his own plane rather than Air Force One, allowing him to transform his private jet into something of a charter service. When asked about the transactions, a spokesperson for the Trump campaign deflected, criticizing Joe Biden's travel to Delaware and Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings, while pointing out that Trump donated his $400,000 a year White House salary and left office poorer than he entered it. The former president, a frequent Florida traveler who handed over management of a multi-billion-dollar international business to his sons, has charged his campaign far more than he donated in salary. On top of the airfare, Trump's 2024 campaign has spent $332,000 at Mar-a-Lago, the private club that doubles as Trump's personal residence. The former president announced his current White House bid from the club in November 2022, and the campaign forked over $68,000 the next month. In June 2023, Special Counsel Jack Smith announced an indictment of the former president for allegedly retaining secret documents at the club and obstructing attempts to retrieve them. But the party at the club kept rolling. The campaign spent $86,000 at Mar-a-Lago in November 2023, then continued to toss in $10,000 here, $15,000 there, over the ensuing several months. Trump sprinkled some around at his other properties too. His campaign spent $20,000 at Trump National Doral, a golf resort the former president owns in Miami. Another $36,000 went to the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, which the former president owns alongside billionaire Phil Ruffin. Other Trump-connected groups have also paid Trump's businesses. His 2020 campaign, which morphed into a political action committee, rented space in Trump Tower, spending about $500,000 from the November 2020 election through February 2022. After his 2020 run, Trump also created something called a leadership PAC, which politicians often use to support their allies. Trump's group, named Save America, instead spent most of its money covering legal expenses. Save America also spent $335,000 at Trump hotels. There are also joint fundraising committees, which allow the former president to team up with others to gather contributions. Trump's joint fundraising committees have paid his businesses about $1 million since the former president lost his spot in the White House. Add it all up, the $4.6 million from the 2024 campaign and millions more from Trump's other groups, and his businesses have collected about $7 million in total since the 2020 election. Not a bad consolation prize. For full coverage, check out Dan Alexander's piece on forbes.com. This is Kieran Meadows from Forbes. Thanks for tuning in.